If you would please all rise for purposes of our Pledge of Allegiance this evening, being offered by Livonia City Council member Maureen Brosnan.
Thank you. It is a rich tradition that events like the Livonia Hall of Fame begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Beginning in this fashion is meant to serve as a reminder that pledges are one of the strongest expressions of loyalty that we have. As such, a slightly different version of these 31 words was first written in 1832 to affirm the values of freedom and our values for the American flag. In much the same spirit, the Livonia Hall of Fame celebration is our community's affirmation that the township that was formed in 1835 and the city that was incorporated in 1950 was built on a steadfast history of loyalty. As we stand tonight and place our hands over our hearts and pledge our allegiance to our country, so too do we pledge our allegiance to a very special place that we call our hometown, Livonia, with all its awesome accomplishments and its bright future. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the
Good evening. Our invocation this evening is being presented by Livonia resident Larry Davis. Larry is past chaplain of the Michigan JCs, is a member of the Livonia Rotary Club, and is employed at Financial and Portfolio Advisors at a Livonia-based company for the past 25 years. Would you please rise for our invocation?
Let us pray. Thank you, Lord, for safely guiding us here this evening so we may honor these outstanding inductees. At Madonna University, community engagement is more than a mission statement. It's part of their core values. The same can be said for these inductees who have done so much for our city, state, and nation, given so much of their time and set such wonderful examples. Please watch over and guide both this current class of inductees and those prior. It is from them, as it is from them, we can all learn how to make our community and our lives just a little bit better. And Lord, if I may ask for a bless you boys for our Detroit Tigers, we ask this in your name. Amen.
I only want to add one thing to the invocation. I have very few regrets in life, but I once took the Michigan JCs to the longest balloting in the history of the organization, having lost on the third ballot by 3 votes, only after Larry Davis switched his votes from Bill Joyner to the man that eventually won. So I just want to let you know, Larry, no grudges held.
All right. Thank you, Larry. My name is Laura Cox, and I'm most pleased to be part of this ceremony. Got to put these on, sorry. And that this year, Madonna University has agreed to host our 2013 induction ceremony. Let's just give another round of applause for this beautiful, beautiful venue. This wonderful university helps us define our hometown, Livonia, and helps all of us realize the important role faith and education has played in giving form and substance to Livonia. It is appropriate that last year the Felician sisters were inducted into the Livonia Hall of Fame, and equally appropriate that today, to welcome us to this great campus, we introduce the president of Madonna University, Sister Rose.
Thank you again so much.
Well, I know this is a very important program, so my remarks will be brief. I do want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you here to Madonna University. We are clearly citizens of the city of Livonia, and I've said it in many places and many times how much we love this city. It really has is such a wonderful environment for families and for people who want to lead good lives and care for their brothers and sisters, for other families and so on, and education, services and so on are really just wonderful. So we consider ourselves very fortunate to be in the city of Livonia. I wanted to just take a couple of minutes to tell you about this building. It is a LEED certified building at the gold level, And LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. And we purposely went the certification route because we wanted to make sure that we could tell the public that we had taken those extra steps to get that certified. It's kind of like being an accredited university. You know, you have outsiders observe what you're doing and certify that. And so we think it is a great addition. Let me tell you some of the things that this represents. Instead of going to far states and so on, the materials that are in this building have come from within 500 miles of this area, mostly from Michigan. The carpeting that you're looking at and the new chairs, those of you who are sitting in the front, those chairs are all made of recycled materials. You'll find, just like this building has a lot of natural light, throughout the building there's a great use of natural light. By the way, this building is not air conditioned, it is air cooled, meaning that we don't use some of the chemicals that are destructive in air conditioning, even though at the time it was state of the art, but there are better ways to do that. So there are many of these kinds of characteristics that create a LEED certified building. And it has just been a wonderful building to be in. I hear it over and over from our students, our faculty. And if you have a free lunch, that is not on Monday because you have to go to Rotary, but on any other day of the week, if you want to just come and we have this open during the afternoon and just have lunch here, please feel free to do that. And then I want to take one more minute before Bill yanks me out, and that is just to tell you a little bit about the stained glass window behind me, and you have an explanation. But this is one of those miracles that happens in your lifetime. I come from a very little parish. It was called St. John Cantius. But amazingly enough, of the 6 presidents of Madonna University since its inception, 3 of them came from this little parish, St. John Cantius. So the sad thing was it was closing in 2005, and the pastor called and said, you know, we're closing, would you like something from the church? And I'm sure he expected me to say, you know, that little statue of St. Joseph or so. I said, no, I'd like the stained glass window of St. John Cantius, and I have to say, I did not remember that it was 13 feet by 7 feet. But in any case, after he dropped the phone and picked it back up, he said, okay. And so then I had to go to the Archdiocese of Detroit and ask for it. And this was just in the process of being built. So you can see there's kind of a complementarity to the fact that this is kind of a modernistic approach, and then you have a stained glass window that dates back the pictures of St. John Cantius, and he's helping a young woman. She drops a pitcher, which at that time would have been considered very valuable, and he helps her put it together, and that's considered one of the miracles of his lifetime. So, and the other nice thing about it is when we brought it, we realized that although he's an ordained priest, he is really wearing the clothing of a professor of his day. So we felt as a professor he belonged in a university. So that's the story of St. John Cantius. As I said, you are always welcome to return, and thank you so much for allowing me here, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Bill.
The appreciation more correctly goes to the good sister, the president. One thing I like about Livonia is that no matter where you go, you wind up running into people. I'm at the grocery store, and I see this lady, Sister Rose, walking down the aisle with a cart. Mine is loaded with chocolates, very fattening things. I walked up to her, and I asked her, and it was all healthy food. I turned around and walked away, and there was no way I was going to engage her in conversation and wind up feeling any more guilty than I was already. So you can run into some nice people in our town everywhere you go. I'd also like to thank Laura Cox for sharing her time this evening for the 7th year in a row as our co-master of ceremonies. Laura Cox is, again by popular demand, true, will be sharing duties with me to guide us through our hometown history. Having served on the Wayne County Board of Commissioners myself, I know full well the time commitment put into this position by Laura. She provides our hometown with continued leadership on the county level. Would you please welcome our good friend Laura Cox. You know, there's somebody else here tonight that's not listed in our program book, but I want to introduce him. Those of you know that I'm probably considered a Walmart U of M fan because I didn't go to U of M, but I still support their football team. So, but we have the man that's the official University of Michigan marching band photographer who's here tonight with us to take some pictures for our history in Livonia. Would you welcome with me from the University of Michigan, living in Livonia, their official marching band photographer, Richard Gaskill. As you already know, my name is Bill Joyner, and it's my pleasure to serve as a tour guide this evening as we take an incredible journey. A journey through history with some incredible people, and they're sitting here in front of us tonight. A tour in which we all take pride in calling Livonia our hometown. A hometown taking its name from a historic Russian province that is now comprised of the Baltic countries of Estonia and Latvia, and a hometown that on April the 6th, 1835 officially became a township, and in 1950 became our home community, the city of Livonia. We're celebrating this year our 178th year since we became a township and 63 years since we became a city. We founded the Livonia Hall of Fame 9 years ago. It's my pleasure that one of the businesses in our community stood up and said they'd like to help sponsor it and bring it to our friends throughout the community and throughout southeastern Michigan. To represent the business community and to express his appreciation for all that our inductees have done for our community, would you please welcome Bob Hardees.
I wanted to start off by saying that I'm very humble to stand here in front of people who have represented the city of Livonia outstandingly, because I, as a businessman who has been here for 25 plus years, a fellow Rotarian, Sister Marie is also Rotarian, and a supporter of the Livonia Symphony, I realize I don't really know much. And the wealth of knowledge, the wealth of experience here in the community is just outstanding. So I realize that the dedication and hard work that people have to commit to the community, these inductees represent this part of community involvement. Be it a business perspective or that of an individual, we soon take for granted the behind-the-scenes items that get done. We just assume that everything is always going to be handled. And it's people that actually spend the time, spend the effort, that actually get the things done that makes this community a superior place to have a business, to live, and to prosper. I'd like to welcome the inductees for this year's 35, sorry about that, Hall of Fame. I've sponsored this for the last 2 years. I'm happy to let you know I'll be sponsoring it for the next 2 years as well. This is a wonderful, wonderful place to have and to belong to. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you. Those being inducted this evening are joining a distinguished group of Livonia ambassadors, leaders and residents who have made an impact going back nearly 175 years. Some have stayed and led, and some have moved on and provided their leadership across the state and nation. To accept our new inductees as Livonia ambassadors and representing the People's Council, I'd like to introduce in just a moment the President of the Livonia City Council. Now, we have the President of the City Council as a representative of the people. But we also have tonight, and I think deserving special recognition, also an inductee of our Hall of Fame several years ago, our current president. Would you please welcome our current Mayor Jack Kirksey. Would you welcome Jack Kirksey? Jack, I'm not sure. You're running, you're not, you're back in, you're going to be on the council, you're going to be, I mean, why don't we just call you Mr. Livonia, give you the title, and then we can call you that and forget everything else. Okay. The woman that I'm about to call up is one that I first met while she was a student at the University of Michigan. I was working for Mayor Ed McNamara, and I had proposed a student intern program for our city. She was the first one selected to run, at that time, the Livonia Environmental Center. She's served as Livonia Council President, Livonia Treasurer, State Representative, and State Senator. Would you please welcome a friend of Livonia, certainly a friend of mine, Laura Toy. Good to see you again.
Well, thank you very much. It's heartwarming to know that Bill Joyner has almost a place of worship that he holds us now, along with Laura, so we're real happy about that. And I do like the new swimming pool out front, sister. That looks really nice. Mayor, thank you for being here. And I just want to say we got to meet Alpha the other night and all the wonderful things they do. Friends of the barn, you know, I mean, what can you say? I mean, I know Bill Joyner, when I became an intern, was so active in getting that barn there and built along with a lot of the community members. Bill, you and your photos, you take away my double chin usually, and I'm real thankful for that. Thank you. Mary Dumas, Mary and I ran against each other for county commissioner one time, and she was a great lady and is in our hearts. Thank you. And then we have my good friend and colleague, former colleague, and just a terrific woman that I admire, has been a mentor of mine for many, many years. That's Joe McCotter. Thanks, Joe. And then Janet Welsh, who I know from the Supreme Court. I serve on the Supreme Court on a permanency committee for foster children. And Janet, you've been a superwoman over there, and now she tells me she's in another place for the law, so I feel real safe. And then we have Robert Nash, who is our city clerk, city councilman. Who could forget Bob? What a wonderful person, a wonderful family, and great man. Thank you so much. So we want to accept all these folks. Mayor, did you want to help me accept them, or are you going to just sit there? Yes, sir. Okay, thank you, Mayor. And God bless all of you, and thank you for all the great things you do. And no, I never marched in the marching band at U of M, but thank you for being here. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Laura.
All right. First, do you know I'm a Spartan? Are you still going to take pictures of me? I'm just kidding. All right. Did you tell him that?
What, that you were a Spartan?
Spartan, yeah.
No, but you won't be invited back next year.
I'm sorry. I'm married to a Wolverine.
That's okay.
That's okay then. It is appropriate to introduce our distinguished guests here in Livonia this evening. But in all honesty, everybody here is very special to all of us, and as friends of Livonia, friends of a community that has over the years been able and willing to capture the imagination and vision of those willing to stand tall as leaders within the public, private, and volunteer sectors. Leaders that, quite frankly, had the understanding that vision without action is only talk, that there is a need to engage and mobilize their neighbors into giving shape and form to the ideas that over the years helped Livonia to stand out as a destination community to live, work, and play. We can applaud all of them after I announce them all, and he wrote the list, so if anybody's missing, blame this guy.
Blame for everything.
Yes, well, you know, I'm not going to take credit for this in case there's a mistake. Mayor Jack Kirksey, which we just spoke about. Mayor Jack Engebretson, former Mayor Jack Engebretson, excuse me. Former Judge Jim McCann, even though I think you're always a judge. Former Representative John Stewart. Councilman, I'm saying councilperson, Maureen Miller-Brosnan. Current councilman as well, Tom Robinson. Current council president, Laura Toy. Current councilman, Jim McCann. We have clerk, Terry Godfrey Marecki. Oh, drop the Godfrey. Terry Marecki, apologize. And treasurer, the tax man. Dennis Wright, I know who he is. Just like, Oh, and former Councilman Joe Taylor's here. Dennis wasn't on the list, so I'm like scanning the audience. And then I have Schoolcraft trustee Gretchen Alness.
Bob Bennett just came
And former Mayor Bob Bennett just sneaked in the back. And then we have State Senator Glenn Anderson, and we have State Representative John Walsh. I think my list is complete. Everybody give everybody a hand. All right. It is appropriate that we remember the members of the Hall of Fame who have been inducted and whose work contributed to creating a hometown of which we are so proud of. On the first Thursday of October 2005, 13 Livonia ambassadors were inducted into the inaugural class of 1835 Livonia Hall of Fame, caring Livonia residents who in the past helped build a community for us to enjoy today and treasure tomorrow. Future residents of Livonia will always be indebted to these outstanding pioneers, paving the way for current and future generations to enjoy a hometown which we are so proud of. All right, class of 2005. Ira Wilson, Wilson Dairy. Mabel Walt, church volunteer and leader. Dr. Maxwell Stewart, Rotary Club volunteer. John Dufour, open spaces and our park system. Richard Joyner, church, scouts, Little League, library, and dad extraordinaire.
Class of 2006 from the Livonia Public Schools, Dr. Don Friedrichs. Our former Livonia mayor and current mayor, and who knows what next, Jack Kirksey. Patrick Duggan, United States federal judge. Joan Duggan, creator of the Livonia Office of Volunteer Energies. Mike Duggan, Detroit Medical Center CEO, and others. Deborah Bondi, the founder of Seedlings, Books for the Blind. Alexander Blue, Livonia Justice of the Peace. Ken Bergen, Livonia educator and Boy Scout leader. Electra Stamalos, founder of the Friends of the Wilson Barn. Sue Daniel, known to all as Livonia's historian. Bill Freed, Mr. Livonia. Pete Ventura, former Livonia City Councilman.
Class of 2007, Lee Landis, Livonia Public Schools trustee and MAD. Vernon Feenstra, Schoolcraft College dean and Livonia City Council. Sam Prisk, Boy Scouts and Clarenceville Public Schools trustee. Louis Schmidt, Clarenceville School Superintendent and State Representative. Sister Mary Giovanni, founder of Angela Hospice. Rudy Kleiner, Township Trustee and Livonia City Council. Bill Warren, Livonia teacher, principal, and supporter of the historical preservation. Roland Upton, Livonia Public Schools Superintendent. Sister Mary Franceline, President of St. Mary Hospital.
Geraldine Joyner, League of Women Voter, Town Hall. Alexander McKinney, Township Supervisor. George Bentley, Bentley High School. Jess Ziegler, our first Livonia mayor. Phil Power, Hometown Newspapers. Bob Bennett, who defined our cultural needs before and active after his years as mayor. Janet Bennett, importance of history and culture from Greenmead to the library. And Ed McNamara, the true embodiment of creative vision and active engagement of citizens. Class of 08, Paul Chandler, owner of the Livonia Observer and former state senator. William Brashear, attorney and former Livonia mayor. Dan Andrew, Livonia planner. John Vroman, township supervisor. Bill Lapine, Livonia planning commissioner. Joe and Jane Saltez, historical preservation. Sheila Taramina, United States Olympic gold medalist. Paul Kadish, Schoolcraft College trustee. Harry Greenleaf, Schoolcraft College trustee. Conrad Ganevic, Livonia Arts Commission and community volunteer.
The class of 2009, James Meese, judge. Lynn Banks, state representative and former county commissioner. Bob Dideker, special education. Rosina Raymond, Schoolcraft College. Stan Anderson, the Wilson Barn. Sue Rosick, Observer Newspapers, and I saw she walked in.
Sue
did she?
walked in.
Yes, I saw her.
There
All
she
right.
is.
Friends of the Livonia Library, Alfred Noble, Sheldon Land Company.
Class of 2010, James McCann, City Council and Judge. Keith Geiger, Education and President of the National Education Association. Ed Katz, School Board. Bill Heaton, Community Volunteer. Lee Morrill, Community Service. Jack Engelbretson, City Council and Mayor. Joe Taylor, City Council. Edgar Orrin Durfee, Wayne County Circuit Judge, and involved in the legal system.
Class of 2011, Charlie Mahoney, known as Mrs. Livonia for your years of community volunteerism. Laura Callow, an early state and national leader on women's issues. Harvey Mulkey, Livonia Mayor. Midge Ellis, creator of the Jazz Festival at Schoolcraft College. Livonia Town Hall, for years bringing national speakers to Livonia. St. Mary Mercy Hospital, our primary hospital shaping how we view healthcare. Orchard Hills McClement, also known as OHM, nationally recognized firm based in Livonia.
And just last year, Bill Brown Ford, for those that remember that, was the #1 largest Ford dealership in the nation. Felician Sisters. But just imagine what Livonia would be today without this cultural center and this spiritual and faith center that has been provided to our community. Livonia Rotary Club, Marge Roach, Bob Bishop, Alice Gunderson, Francesco de Blasi, and our Livonia Youth Symphony. Tonight, a number of community leaders will be called forward. We're moving into the portion of the program where we're going to have an opportunity to welcome these leaders that are here with us tonight. Those doing the introduction will present and make special recognition to those recommended by Livonia residents selected by the Board of Nominators for induction into the 1835 Livonia City Hall of Fame, and with it, the privileged designation and status as a Livonia ambassador. Every year on December the 31st, my mailbox is flooded with nominations. This year, we have 7 that were selected out of 33 nominations.